Well, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't even close my eyes. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't even close my eyes. Can't find my baby, and I can't be satisfied. Hello everybody, we are going to go through that song. It's called 3 O'Clock Blues by B.B. King. And so we're going to run through that song in B flat from his original, I think it's a 1956 recording off of Singing the Blues album. So we're going to do that. And what we're going to look at today is the chords, just 3 different chords. Okay, and then a couple of licks, like the intro lick. And then some of his how to find that B.B. King box for this song. And a lick also around the turnaround. Alright, so let's dive in. Okay, so the way we're going to start this song, you're going to slide up to the 6th fret of the B string. Okay, so it's going to sound like this. Okay, and then the next note that you're going to hit is the 8th fret of the B string. So what you're doing there, slide from the 6th fret of the B string, the 8th fret of the B string, and then you're going to hit the high E string 6th fret twice. And that's going to lead us right into the song. Now this song is just your run-of-the-mill, straight 12-bar blues repetition throughout the song. So if you know how to play a 12-bar blues, you'll know how to play this song with these chords. And the cool thing is, if you're not really wanting to do B flat, like that's not good for your voice, or you would rather just pick another key because you're partial to another key, you can do that. Just move these chords around. Okay, and you can do the same thing with this intro anywhere you want. No matter what key you're in, B.B. King plays that intro to a lot of things, even his faster blues. Alright, so you can play that anywhere. But anyways, back to 3 O'Clock Blues. Okay, let's walk through this very quickly. We're going to go through the chords, and then we are going to look at some embellishments, and then again end with just a couple of B.B. King licks. So we'll go through this pretty quickly. Won't probably be as long as Driftin' Blues tutorial. I'm also going to put the link in the description to my playing this on my channel a couple of years ago. And if you want to watch the whole thing, the whole demonstration, that'll be on there as well. Okay, so after you do your intro lick, you're going into a B flat 7. Okay, a B flat 7 is where you bar the entirety of the 6th fret from the low E to the high E. They're all 6th fret. Okay, then you're going to keep the 6th fret on the low E, so that's going to be played. You're going to take your ring finger, you're going to put it on the 8th fret of the A string. You're going to leave the D string to the 6th fret, so nothing's happening there. The G string, you're going to put your middle finger down on the 7th fret, and the B and the E, the B and the high E, you're going to leave with that 6th fret bar. So all together it sounds like this. Alright, what's your next chord? So your next chord, after you go to this, the B flat 7 is called an E flat 9, okay? An E flat 9 is your middle finger on the 6th fret of the A string. Your pointer finger is going to be on the 5th fret of the D string. Your ring finger is on the 6th fret of the G string, and your pinky is also on the 6th fret of the B string. Now you're just playing those notes. You're not playing the low E or the high E. You could, if you wanted to, add another note to this chord, which would be your pinky is going to bar the 6th fret of both the B and the high E. So it's gonna sound like this at the bottom. Okay, if you put that together, you don't have to do that. You can completely leave out the pinky, no problems. But there you go. Now the only other chord you need for this song is to take that shape that you have there and just slide it up a whole step or 2 frets up to the 8th fret, where the bass note is going to be your middle finger on the 8th fret. Your pointer finger is going to be on the 7th fret of the D string, and then your ring finger's on the 8th fret of the G, and your pinky again is on either both the high E and the B string of the 8th fret, or just the B string of the 8th fret. Your choice. But that's going to be an F9. We'll just call it an F so we're not repeating numbers all the time. And there's a slight possibility I might be wrong about what variation that is, but you can correct me if so in the comments. I think it's a 9th chord, but anyways, I didn't take music theory, so that's just coming off the old remembrance, but I don't know if it is or not. Anywho, okay, so back to what we're doing. So this is the only chords you need. So we've got B7, B flat 7, our E flat, and our F. That's it. That's all you need. Okay, so it's a 12-bar blues. So if you need to look into what a 12-bar blues is, we talked about it a little bit in the last one, which is drifting blues, but it's just a repetition of the 1 chord. In this case, it's the B flat 7. To the next line of the song is going to be the 4 chord, which in our case is the E flat 9. Back to the 1 chord, which is the B flat 7. 5 chord, which is an F. Back to the 4 chord, which is an E flat, and then it's the turnaround. So how does that look in this song? It's going to be a little bit of a variation. Instead of just a straight through 12 bar, he does something a little different. So let's see what he does. Okay, so you've got the very beginning of the song goes. So do your intro lick you just learned. Now it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Rather than staying on that 1, go ahead and switch over to that E flat. I can't even close my eyes. Back to your B flat 7. Now here's a cool thing you can do at this point with the B flat 7. You've got your pinky free to do whatever it wants, right? Because it's not doing anything right now. So why don't you go ahead and when you get comfortable with a B flat 7, you can take that pinky and you can do a little walk down in the middle of a chord, which is really, really cool. You're going to take your pinky and on the 9th fret of the B string, a bit of a stretch, you're going to play that, and then you're going to go down to the 8th fret of the B string, and then you're going to go back to it, just your pinky's flying in the air, and it's both the 6th fret of the high E and B there. So it's going to go. That's what it sounds like at the bottom. 1, pluck the B, pluck the E, pluck the B, but move your pinky down a half fret to the 8th, and then open, or 6, on both of them. So you can do that anytime you're playing a B flat 7, just to spice it up a little bit. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so now we've gone to repeating the line, which goes back to the 4 chord, which is our E flat 9. Now, a cool thing you can do here is take that shape that you have. It's the same shape we learned for the 4 chord, which is the E flat 9, and the 5 chord, which is the F9. And you can, when you're doing the repeat, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you can do a real quick slide down a half step or 1 fret, up to an E, which is E9. So that's going to be your middle finger is on the 7th of the A, pointer finger's on the 6th of the D, your ring finger is on the 7th of the G, and your pinky is also on the 7th fret of the B. Okay? So it would sound like this. What we've got so far. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Switch over to E flat. And I can't even close my eyes. Back to your B flat. Do your embellishment. Repeat. to the E flat. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Slide up, back to your E flat, and I can't even close my eyes. Back to your B flat. Okay, so now you're gonna do a walk up to your 5 chord, which is the F9, which again is the middle finger is the 8th fret of the A, pointer finger is the 7th fret of the D, and then your ring finger is the 8th fret of the G, and your pinky is also the 8th fret of the B. And again, if you want to, you can bar with your pinky both the 8th of the B and E and add that in at the bottom there. But a walk up, very simply, is going to be the 6th, 7th, and 8th on the A, okay? So it's going to be 6 on the A, 7 on the A, into your bass note, your root note, which is going to be the 8th fret of the A, which is an F. And then it's just your classic 5. So we did a walk up to the 5. Can't find my baby, and I can't be satisfied. So you're going back to the 4 chord, but something you can do is to take that shape, because again, you know it's the same shape as your 4 chord, and you can just slide it down by fret until you get to your 4 chord. So it's going to be your bass note in the same shape underneath it, on the 8, on the 7, and then your 6. In other words, F, E, E flat, okay, and then, and I can't be satisfied, and then it's a turnaround. Okay, so a turnaround in this song is you go back to the B flat 7, your 1 chord, you hit that once, E flat, back to your B flat, walk up the 6, 7, 8 to the F. And now here's something cool. Rather than just ending the verse and starting the next one by just going straight back to your 1, which you could do, the B flat 7, take that B flat 7 that we learned, okay, the bar of the 6th fret with your ring finger on the 8th fret of the A and your middle finger on the 7th fret of the G. You're going to take that and you're going to slide it up a fret to a B7, and then you go into your B flat 7. So to put that all together, you go from the 1, this is a turnaround at the very end, so E flat, back to your B flat, walk up to the F, B, B flat, and then you start the next verse. Okay, so all that together, we've got the entirety of the song. You don't, by the way, when you go from verse to verse, you don't do the lick again. That's just to start the song, okay? So you wouldn't like do the turnaround. You could, but that'd be kind of redundant, I guess. And you do you. If you want to do it, that's fine. Okay, so let me teach you really quickly some embellishments you can do underneath it while you're playing the chords. Okay, and there's really just 3, because there's one that goes under the B flat, there's one that goes under the E, and there's one that goes under the F. That's it. Okay. So let's say you're playing the B flat at the beginning of the verse. You go, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You can do that. All right, what is that? Well, what you're doing is you're only playing 3 notes. Okay, what it is your middle finger is going to go on the D string 8th fret. Your pointer finger is going to go on the 7th fret of the G string, and then your ring finger is going to go on the 8th fret of the B. Okay, and then you're going to take that same shape and just move it down an entire step or 2 frets. So your middle finger is now going from the 8th of the D to the 6th of the D. Your pointer finger is now going from the 7th of the G to the 7th, or excuse me, the 5th of the G. And then your ring finger is going from the 8th of the B to the 6th of the B. And then you're going to kind of just slide this around from those 2 positions. You can kind of do that however you want to. So I'm sliding it from the down here at the 8th fret to the 6th, sliding back up. That's underneath a B flat 7. Sounds so cool, right? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so then you're gonna go to the E flat. Well, I want to do that same thing, but with an E flat chord, and obviously it's not gonna be this again. That's for our B flat 7. But for the E flat 7, so you can go. Okay, what is that? Well, you are going to bar using your pointer finger. You're going to bar the G, B, and E, all of the 6th fret. And then you're going to slide up to the 8th fret. Okay, and then, still keeping that bar, you're going to play using your ring finger. You're going to go up. You're going to pluck it and hammer on your ring finger onto the 8th fret of the G. And then, if you want to get really bluesy, you can do 2 things. You can spread your ring finger all the way to the 9th fret of the G string and kind of play around that. And then end that little lick with your ring finger on the 8th fret of the D. Okay, so it sounds like this all together. And you can play around with that however you want to. Lots of cool stuff you can do with that. Okay, so you can use that one anytime you're using an E flat. But what about the F? It's our last one. Well, it's kind of the same thing. You're barring the the G and the B and the E of the 8th fret, sliding up to the 10th. Okay, so let's see all the embellishments there. Same, they're kind of the, this. So you would add that in. So it's 3 o'clock in the morning, embellishment. I can't even close my eyes. You can do your pinky thing that we learned. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I can't even close my eyes. You walk up. Can't find my baby, and I can't be satisfied. Okay, the last thing we're going to look at is a couple of licks. Now, all your licks that you're going to play can come from 2 places. One, the B flat minor pentatonic, and then the B flat major. But what I'm going to show you really quickly, we're going to run through the B flat minor, and then I'm going to show you the BB box, the BB King box. Not that many notes, but there's a lot there to be played. Okay, so a B flat minor pentatonic, and you can use any of these notes, and it's going to sound bluesy and very cool. If you throw some bends in and phrasing that you want, you make it your own, right? Okay, so very quickly, you're playing the following notes. You're going to go 6th fret of the low E, 9th fret of the low E, 6th fret of the A, 8th fret of the A, 6th fret of the D, 8th fret of the D, 6th fret of the G, 8th fret of the G, 6th fret of the B, 9th fret of the B, and then same thing at the very high E string. Apologies for the playing. People got to go places, I suppose. But anyways, the last bit is on the high E string. It's going to be 6th fret of the high E and the 9th fret of the high E. So that's... Now, last thing you can do is slide up. And this is going to help us find that BB box, okay? So you can do this on the B and the E string. So again, on the B string, it's the 6th and the 9th fret, but you can also play the 11th fret of the B. And on same thing on the high E, 6, 9, but also the 11. And then on the D string, this is kind of becomes a little bit of a box. You can play the 10th fret of the G string, rather, not the D string, sorry. So that box is going to look like this. You're going to go down to the 10th fret of the G string, the 9th fret of the B, the 11th fret of the B, the 9th fret of the E, and the 11th fret of the E. Now, here's how we find that B.B. King box. So that's all minor. Okay, but now we're going to find the B.B. King box. It's so fun and easy to find a B.B. King box without getting into music theory. You're going to take that box that you have at the bottom of your pentatonic, which again is the 10 of the G, the 9 and the 11 of the B, and the 9 and 11 of the E. You're going to take that shape, that box, and just slide it up a whole step or 2 frets. So the box becomes the G string on the 12th fret, the B string on the 11th and the 13th, and the high E string on the 11th and the 13th. And that's your B.B. King box. So you can, throughout this song, you can play licks again in any of that pentatonic. So just figure it out, right? Just figure out your phrasing and what you want it to sound like. That's what's so cool about blues. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I can't even close my eyes. Okay, but now you know the B.B. King box, which again is sliding down to the G on the 12th, the B on the 11th and 13th, and the B on the 11th and 13th. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I can't even close my eyes. So you can play around. Any of those notes are going to sound good together. What he does a lot, slides up to the G on the 12th, bends the 13th of the B up, plays the 11th on the high E, and then bends the 13 on the high E. So again, that's sliding up to the 12th fret of the G, 11th fret of the B, bending the 13th fret of the B, playing the 11th of the high E, the 13th of the high E, bending that 13th fret of the B again, and then ending back on the 11th fret of the B. And then if you're really feeling B.B. King, give that a little shake. Give it a little vibrato. Okay, and one thing you can always add at the end of a B.B. King lick that he did all the time was hitting the octave on the high E. Okay, so you go. Ooh. That's your right note, don't do that. Okay, so that is going to be all the way up here. This would be easier on electric because this doesn't have a cutaway, but your acoustic might have a cutaway, which makes it a little bit easier. So we are going all the way. This is the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th fret of the high E string. Otherwise, it's a B flat note. So you would think I would hit it right. There you go. Okay, last B.B. King lick I want to teach you is what you would do at a turnaround point. Okay, if you're doing a solo, so you got 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, there's a couple different ways to do that. But the easiest way is it's very similar to our beginning intro. By the way, it sounds a little different. You're playing the 6th of the B string, the A of the B string, but you bend it up. The 6th of the high E, the 8th of the high E, and then you go back to bending up that 8 of the B to the 6th fret of the B and give it a little shake. And then when you go to your 4, kind of a cool concluding B.B. King lick / Eric Clapton lick that's also in Drifting Blues is you slide down to the 12th fret of the G. So we're going back to our B.B. King box, and then so slide down to the 12th fret of the G. Then you're going back to the high E string, 13, 12, 11. Walk down. Bend up that 13th of the B, and the 11th of the B, and then end it with the 12th of the G back to the 11th of the B. Okay, so if you can combine all of those parts, you've got a kind of a good framework for B.B. King's 3 o'clock blues. And there's a lot of things that you can do with that. Again, if you learn that pentatonic, you make it your own, or you can add those embellishments in when you want to. But that's basically the gist of the song. So again, I'm going to leave the link in the description to the full demonstration of this song. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And I will see you next time.